Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This is episode 282, The Pacifier from 2005. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too, and this episode is brought to you by Full Force Diesel Performance. They're your one-stop shop for any 7.3 Power Stroke engine, gaskets, and seals kits that come in a variety of colors, including navy. Shout out to Full Force Diesel Performance.
Shout out to Full Force. It sounded like they were one that we already had, but I think the issue, we haven't, they're new. Yes. I think the issue is that like all these diesel companies just sound the same to me. So
yeah, I mean, it's all like, power.
What do? They do car stuff. Cool, got it. Okay, awesome.
And
or
it's
maybe
always
not.
Performance, It's diesel, performance.
Power, performance, force.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well, speaking of performance and force, we'll get to our guest in a second, but I want to shout out our patrons: Cassie Wilson, Ben Milliman, Nick Burris, Alex Ellen, and Justin Kleinman, Brian Rodriguez of High School Slumber Party, Haley Gerbies, Wes Hampton, Jerry Robinson, Dan the Duke, Hayden Renato DiDonato, Michael McGann, Lane Middleton, Lindsay Lewandowski, Nate Milton of the Kings of Sport, Jason Rainey, Tom Price, Mike Gallagher, and Jessica Collins, a.k.a. Montez. Thank you all for supporting us at the $5 a month level or above. If you want your name read on every episode, toofast2forever.com. You also get to pick what we watch. You get bonus episodes. You get early access to every episode. You get stickers, handwritten notes, our undying love and affection. More stuff coming as we get closer to Fast X. So toofast2forever.com. We also have an email address if you want to email in family@cageclub.me. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Vin Diesel's turn as Shane Wolf, the most awesome, cool, badass guy in cinema in The Pacifier. And with us to talk about The Pacifier, I think she requested it. I don't remember. I could look it up if she doesn't remember. But returning from not that long ago, more recently than we thought, Jordan Polan-Clarke. Hello, Jordan.
Hello, it's me. I'm back. I don't think I requested this.
We're gonna find out.
I don't remember doing it if I did, but
there's also a chance that I was like, do you want to do one of these movies? There's like 4 left. And you're like, I'll do The Pacifier.
That seems more likely. And I mean, I know why I would request this movie.
This is last July. Is there a Vin Diesel movie you want to join us for next lap? You said, ooh, maybe. Like any Vin Diesel movie? I said, not everyone, but we're doing most of them. And you said, probably The Pacifier.
Oh gosh, I did request it. Okay, yeah, sure.
So this is you.
It's I don't like Vin Diesel. Have we talked about this before?
Probably,
vaguely.
But I don't remember.
It sounds familiar, but go ahead.
I don't.
But there's
like
actually
Vin
a lot
Diesel.
of women that don't like Vin Diesel for some reason, so that's okay.
I would like to know more about that. So this is the least Vin Diesel movie, or is it the most Vin Diesel movie?
I have thoughts on this.
Mm-hmm.
That we were watching this last night, and Rachel said that this seems like a lot of Mark, not a lot of Vin. It's Mark and Dom is what she said this was.
So one of the people who will eventually be on our show, who I sort of met through Letterboxed, I think, like just, internet movie friend.
Yeah.
Her review of this movie was Vin Diesel's real name is Mark Sinclair. Like that was her entire review. And I was like, and she said the fact that Maggie and I think our roommate talk about it at least once a week. And I said, about as often on Too Fast, Too Forever, we try to figure out where Mark, Vin, and Dom begin and end. I think the difference between Vin and Dom has been negligible since the beginning of the series, but they began to fully fuse somewhere around the 6th and 7th movies as Dom was becoming invincible. This fusion is the personality in control like 99% of the time, but Mark is the one obsessed with Facebook Live and thus the one who accidentally live streamed his pocket at the Infinity War premiere.
Yes.
So when he's dorky, he's Mark. When he's not, he's Vin or Dom.
That we kind of come to a conclusion very similar to that, I think. That was kind of our delineators, too.
Well, you guys obviously think about this a lot more than me, but one of the thoughts that I had today while watching this movie was, what is Vin, because he kind of has to like be a person in this, kind of. He isn't really, but he, he has to
kind
talk
of.
to kids, and like one of the thoughts that I had that I hadn't had before was like, I wonder what it's like to just like sit around and like talk to like Vin. What's he like in his day-to-day life,
Well, I will tell you that there's one IMDb trivia piece about this, that there's the line in the movie. So the background to this is that the scene where Lulu, who is the younger daughter,
Okay.
she's the one who's in love with Shane.
Yep.
That shit's weird. Keep going. We'll talk about it.
That she tells him she thinks he's cute was based on a real-life incident. Morgan York, the actress, upon meeting Vin, said that to him, and he awkwardly responded, "Thank you." The director thought it was so funny, he put it in the film. So it seems like he's just like, I don't know how to deal with this.
Well, he shouldn't. That's super weird.
That's an appropriate I was going to say that's an appropriate reaction to not know how to deal with this and just be like, "Thank you," and move along.
It would be much worse if like a 30-year-old man knew how to deal with a child telling him that.
Yeah, so he's like probably 35 here. I will also say, so this is on Disney Plus.
Yep.
As soon as it ended, Joe, I don't know if it was the same thing for you, it immediately prompted to me, hey, want to watch The Game Plan starring
Yes,
The Rock? And I'm just like,
100%.
no.
It absolutely did. Yep.
Is that like the same movie but with The Rock?
They all did one. They all did one movie where it's like...
No, because The Rock has like the Tooth Fairy too or something, right?
What's The Game Plan?
He's like, I think he's like a...
It's not this? Oh, no, it's also this. Yeah, he has a young daughter. Yeah, so he has to become. He becomes a father. He's a football player who like has it all as like a single man. Then it's like he unexpectedly has children. But yeah, he also did the Tooth Fairy. We talked about recently that Jason Statham has not done this, Jordan. Even though we feel like he would be probably pretty good at it, based if nothing else, other than like his scene with the baby in Fate of the Furious.
He would probably be the funniest at it. Like I don't.
He's
think...
the funniest of the three of them. Like he's the only one with the actual sense of humor.
Yeah, like Vin Diesel wasn't. He made me laugh twice, which is, I guess, more times than he's ever made me laugh.
Honestly,
before.
It's pretty good. I would say it's a pretty good thing.
Yeah, it's pretty decent.
The Rock is probably like medium funny at it, but yeah, Jason Statham would be the funniest.
I feel like we have not really verbalized this, but I feel like this podcast collectively has shifted against The Rock since he had the bad blood with Vin, because we have to pick a side, sort of. We have to pick Vin. And so I just think that like we're kind of all rooting for him to fail at things because we want him to return to the Fast and Furious because he's better. He's at home there.
In the shadiest, evilest way, I hope everything that The Rock does fails just because I know that then he will need the financial support of rejoining the Fast and the Furious. And like that's not fair. It's not nice. But for my own personal gain, I would like to see like the XFL crumble, Young Rock, Black Adam, all of it. Totally fine by me, so that he comes like crawling back and has to do the last Fast and the Furious movie.
Maybe we'll see at some point. But okay, so if you do not know what the Pacifier is, it is on Disney Plus. But having recovered from wounds received in a failed rescue operation, Navy SEAL Shane Wolf is handed a new assignment: protect the 5 plumber kids from enemies of their recently deceased father, a government scientist whose top secret experiment remains in the kids' house. So this is directed by Adam Shankman, who did Hairspray, the Zeph version of Hairspray, Disenchanted, and A Walk to Remember. It was written by Thomas Lennon and Robert Ben-Garant, who are like very funny dudes. Like they're the Reno 911 guys. They did.
I want to see the original script because I'm certain that this is not the script that they wrote.
Right, because they also they wrote the Zeph Baywatch as well.
Okay.
Like they were both very, very funny as like just performers and writers. They also did, I think, all the Night of the Museum movies too, maybe. But like they also wrote a book on screenwriting about like how to, basically how to win, how to make millions. What's the title of their book is really funny. Hold on. Writing movies for fun and profit, how we made $1 billion at the box office, and you can too. Like they're very open about like, hey, it's not that hard to write movies or whatever. Like it's hard to sell them, but like you can write movies and go from there. But they're both really, really funny dudes, and this movie is not.
I mean, it's a kids movie,
right?
It's like a silly Disney kids movie.
It's very cartoony, like
yeah.
That's the best way I know how to describe it.
I think the bigger issue I have with this, not that it's not funny, because I know that's not really for me, but it just feels like this is exactly the movie that I thought it was going to be.
Yep.
And nothing about it was like really cater to Vin Diesel other than maybe some driving scenes, maybe. And then
Fighting a little bit.
There were some fighting scenes, yeah.
But that's just like action dude. Like any dude who's just like if you're like, okay, so here's the other thing. So there were like a bunch of different people who were, and again, to your point, Jordan, a bunch of different screenplays, different script versions, whatever. But a lot of other people were considered or offered or attached or even cast in this movie. Jackie Chan was, for a while, it seems like the guy for this movie.
Oh,
so that would have been
okay.
wildly different. So like
Yeah.
in the Jackie Chan version, they had the pet duck, which is just in the movie for no reason because
Yes.
that was in the Jackie Chan thing. And then like when he left, they just kept the duck, but also Statham, who we mentioned, The Rock, who we mentioned, Mark Wahlberg, and Bruce Willis. So just like all of those people can do fight scenes. Like it's not like you're writing fight scenes catered specifically to Vin Diesel.
True.
You're writing them just as like muscle dude who has to deal with kids and doesn't like kids, whatever.
I feel like they're all everyone you just I mean maybe Vin too, but they're above this because this wasn't like I feel like you named it already. Like it's exactly what you expected. Like it doesn't aim very high, it doesn't try very hard. Like most of the jokes are pretty lazy. Like it's not impressive at all as a movie. And also it's like total nonsense and some of it's pretty upsetting, which is true for most kids movies, but like it's gotten better since what year was this? 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's gotten better since then, but
I'm looking because I want to see how this was received. Rotten Tomatoes is either broken
very
or you
very
can't find
poorly.
it.
I saw a thing today that was just like Vin Diesel like really takes one trying to do the pacifier. So like it was like very grating. Like even like the headline was
Well,
bad.
like what's interesting about this is that Jordan, you're saying like they're above this, or like even maybe Vin, like this is still early enough in his career.
When did it come out? That's what I wanted to know too.
2005. So this is
No, but I mean like between what and what?
yeah.
And what?
So between Too Fast
Okay.
and Tokyo Drift, so he is gone from that.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's after Chronicles of Riddick, so it's after Pitch Black and Chronicles of Riddick.
Oh God. Okay.
And it's between, I think, or maybe it's after Triple X2, but he's not in that. So, like, he's been in one Fast and Furious, he's been in one Triple X, and he's been in two different Riddick movies. And there's other movies that we've covered that he's been in, but, like, in terms of, like, the action star that he is now, where he's like, I've got 3 franchises, and I'm in 12 Fast, whatever, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's not where he is yet. So, like, I don't know that he's necessarily above it. I think he's better than this. It made $200 million, so, like, on a $56 million. So, like, people saw it.
A lot. Yeah.
But I
Quite
think
a few
just people went to go see a Disney family movie, right?
Probably
Right.
also true. Yeah.
The other IMDb trivia that I wanted to share that I think is very, very funny was that as of September 2019, so right before that sweet, sweet pandemic, this film has the 3rd highest volume of DVD sales in relation to years since release, which is not a metric I thought that anybody actually tallied, but sure.
Wait, say it again.
It's a
I don't
nice-
think
it's a
I
nice-
understand.
It's actually a really nice metric. Like I
The
actually kind of
3rd
like it.
highest volume of DVD sales in relation to years since release. So it's not like this is the 3rd highest selling DVD of all time, but
In the years that
it's
it's been
only
since
been
it's
out,
been released. Yeah.
14 years, and so the number whatever. But this is why it gets good.
Okay.
This is largely due to Alex Hall, an Australian who owns 2,400 copies.
Oh, that's weird. Why does he own
Why does
2,400
he have
copies?
that?
I have no idea. That was the end of the trivia. I was like, do I want to look this up?
What?
And I was like, I want to know more. I also don't want to know more. I want to let the mystery be.
I wonder if they're all the same copy, if they're all like different copies. This is a fun game though. Can you imagine if you had a friend and it's like their birthday and you're like, and it's him, you're like, well, I know what I'm getting this guy. Another copy of the pacifier on DVD.
Like there's what was the movie or what was the book? There was some movie. There's some guy who collects VHS copies of Jerry Maguire.
It's Jerry Maguire, yes.
Yeah.
I
Like,
know that
specifically
one.
VHS copies. I never heard about this, and I feel like it would have come up when like, when we did Jerry Maguire for Cruise Club, like, oh, this guy's got this many VHS, but like this guy's got this many of the pacifier. It seems fake, but also I want it to be real.
I believe it. I believe it in my heart that he has 2,400 copies of the Pacifier just sitting. I hope that they're all lined like in DVD shelves, like you have, Joey. That's just like, what movie am I gonna watch today? And he just like walks by and it's like, maybe the Pacifier. I think I'll watch the Pacifier today.
Do you think he watches like different copies?
Probably. And you know what I want him to do is there was like a thing like somebody had like 1,000 copies like the Beatle White Album and they put them all on at the same time and like because like their albums they're like are just a hair off of each other from like warping and stuff like that. I want him to play every copy he has of the Pacifier on a different television at the same time. Like try to start them all at the same time. See what happens.
Cool.
Oh, I just imagine it's more like a museum
Mm.
where like the different like covers are on display and like he swaps them
Okay.
out for ones that he likes more sometimes. But it is
Yeah.
definitely playing at all times on multiple screens in the museum.
On Rotten Tomatoes, according to Wiki, the film has a 21% approval rating based on 130 reviews with an average rating of 3.8 out of 10. The site's official consensus reads, quote, Vin Diesel parodies his tough guy image for the family audience, but the result is only moderately amusing. On Metacritic, it has a weighted average of 30 out of 100 based on 27 critics, indicating, quote, generally unfavorable reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of A- on the A plus F scale.
Oh.
Roger Ebert gave it 2 stars out of 4, saying the premise is promising, but somehow the movie never really takes off. The first thing I thought was the first like 10 minutes, like there's a long time where it's just like an action scene, right? Like it's just them doing military shit. And I'm like, this is so much heavy lifting to
Yes.
prove that he's good at his job. It's just
And
like
the runtime's an hour 30 sharp.
yeah, which is blessedly, it's exactly the right length. If
Yes.
it's still maybe a little too long, but I'm like, you're spending so much time to be like, hey, this guy's a macho dude. It's like, yeah, we kind of get it. Like, that's the point of like casting a Vin Diesel. Like, it's the look, right? So, I don't know. It feels like it's just that the balance of things is off.
We watched this movie pretty intoxicated, and I just want to say it was very enjoyable. We really liked how wholesome it was. I think you might have seen Rachel said that this is probably her favorite Vin Diesel movie, like at this point.
That's insane.
I know. I'm not there, but I did find it like really gentle. I did like that he's like, poking fun at himself. It's not a good movie. It's not a movie I'd recommend to anyone, but like in the mindset that we were in and at the time and watching it, I was like, you know what? This is pretty silly, goofy fun.
I think the only Vin Diesel movie I like less than this is Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk, which is a movie that I don't even know if you've ever heard of.
No, definitely not.
Starring Taylor Swift's boyfriend, Joe Alwyn, and Kristen Stewart. It's not good. Like, this is just, I mean, again, I know this is not for me. I watched this sober. I know that I had lots of issues here in terms of, like, the way that I watch this movie, but, like, Jordan, did you like any parts of it? Like, what were the 2 parts that made you laugh?
Okay, I laughed. I think they were no, I think I'm forgetting about one of them. Okay, I laughed.
Is there 3, are you saying, or you just forget one of the 2?
There's what I think I laughed twice, but I can remember
Okay.
one other thing that inside my head I was like, that was funny. But it
Okay.
should have been funnier. Like I don't think he did a good job at what they wrote for him.
Okay.
So there's like the part where he is like getting introduced to the kids
Okay.
and there's the babysitter lady and the
Yes.
baby and
Munch's
he's
wife.
like, oh, that's who that.
Well,
She's
it's
something else
Carol Kane.
too.
It's Carol
Yeah,
Kane. She's from
in.
Kimmy Schmidt.
But
She's from a million things.
I know her from Princess Bride, right?
Yeah. She's in like a ton of things.
Yeah, she's in
I'm just
everything.
thinking about Munch because he just died, so
Because he just died. Rest in
Yeah.
R.I.P.
peace. I
Munch.
spend all day, every day watching SVU, and
Do
that's a
you? We
bummer.
watch a
Yeah.
ton of this views.
I
So
watch
yeah.
so much SVU, and I just finished everything that's on Hulu, and I had to start over for the first time.
Rachel's
Okay.
done that a few times, yeah.
Apparently, Carol Kane, this is one of her 4 most known for roles. She's most known for The Princess
No.
Bride, so you're right there.
No.
Then Adam's Family Values, then The Pacifier, and then Scrooged. But she's been in 166
I
things.
don't
Scrooged,
like
yeah.
that for her.
I think the first thing that I remember or like noticed her in or whatever is she's the wacky downstairs lady in Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Also
but
that, yes.
she's been in a million things. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so Carol Kane was the babysitter, kind of. I have like so many questions about what this setup was supposed to be in the family. But so he's like introduced to her and the baby, and he goes, "Ma'am, baby," and it's funny. addresses the baby as baby in a very formal way.
Well, he also does later when he's like, I don't have time to remember all your names. You're Red Leader, you're Red One, you're Red Baby. And she's like, why Red Baby? But like, again,
That's the part that I think should have been inside my head. I was like, oh, that's funny. But like he delivered
already
it
did this
poorly
joke,
enough
yeah.
that like it wasn't funny. But it should have been.
I think my not issue, because it's not the issue. I don't really have issues with this movie. Like, I kind of understand what it is and whatever. But the thing that surprised me is that there are 5 kids. Like, that seems like so many kids.
Well, they live in like a fucking mansion.
Yeah, but like
2.
in terms of like screenwriting simplicity, it would be like 3.
3. You're right. I'm
No, but
with you.
it was funnier. I think like okay, because it was somehow escalated the situation that there was 2 really little kids. Like there was a baby, but there was also a baby
like
who
toddler.
could walk.
Yeah.
But we couldn't.
Was
talk.
that the name that you were looking for? A baby that can walk.
Yeah, you know, there's baby after when babies grow up, they
walking
become babies that can
babies.
walk, and then they become kids.
There's ground babies, walking babies. We have like different versions of them all over the place.
Yeah, you know. And then there was like the middle kid, and then the 2 older kids.
The teenagers, yeah.
That there was there was something, and they gave them all enough to do that I don't feel like any of those children were wasted in this movie, and they just made it so that he was more overwhelmed because there were so many of them.
It just feels like this is a lot. Like, that's why when there's 5 kids, like, you know, it's a wealthy family. Like, you that's why you have a Carol King. 'Cause, like, also for a while, I'm like, is she gonna be in the whole movie? 'Cause,
I
like,
thought this too. Yeah, I was like, is
But
she
they
throughout the whole thing?
also
Yeah.
they also didn't really even there was no explanation of like he walked in the door and they were like, this is your babysitter, not this lady who's in your home all the time, who is
It's
obviously
like clearly
the
the nanny.
babysitter.
Yeah.
And she left so fast. Like it was so easy to get rid of her. Like I question how
Yeah.
long she's been a part of that family.
Well, she dips herself too, which is pretty smart on her end.
so the older 2 kids are both like working actors still. Like, they're both like known.
Yeah,
Do
the
you
one kid's in
recognize either of them?
Bates Motel. I recognize the boy
Well,
for sure.
yeah,
Not the girl,
yeah.
but like the boy. I was like, oh, and then I was like, Rachel, what is he in? Like, what do I recognize him from? And she said Bates Motel.
So he's also from another movie, Joe, that we have covered on this podcast. Do you remember? I
She
think
said
also
it.
maybe
She said
the
it. I
same
forget.
year.
She said it, but I forget. Go ahead. What was it?
Catch That Kid with Kristen Stewart.
Oh yes, that's right. That I thought it today. Actually, she did not say this, but like I was at work today and I was like, I started thinking about the fucking Kristen Stewart movie and I was like, why am I thinking about this movie? And it had to be that he inceptioned himself into it.
Max Terrio. Yeah, and then the older sister is Brittany Snow, who I think is most known for probably the Pitch Perfect movies.
Oh,
She's
cool.
like one of the leads in that, but she's also in the new movie, last year's movie X by Ty West, that movie that everybody
Oh.
loved with Mia Goth, and she's also in the aforementioned Hairspray. But yeah, like it's I think it's kind of rare to see like child actors. They're not like child actors, like they're teen actors, so like they're closer to like regular working actors, but like to just stay in the business. And so like they're both like pretty successful kid actors who like kept going. So like I was like, oh, good
Amen.
for them.
Yeah, exactly. I'm down. Get the bag. Always. I'm happy
Yeah.
for you.
My first real issue with this movie is that at one point Vin hears gunfire, right? And he's like, what is this? He runs around the house to try to
Yes.
figure this out, and then he goes and there's like the duck on top of the TV and the girl is playing Mortal Kombat 2. I'm like,
There's no gunfire in Mortal Kombat. Is that the first thought you had too?
yep. Also, like, it's like a 12-year-old video game on like a weird outdated, like, she's like a new system but like an outdated game. I'm like, what? Did no one, what?
Call
Like,
of Duty.
you-
Call of Duty
Call of Duty,
existed.
Halo, anything, right? Like, just
Yeah.
what do you? But I was like, okay, that's issue number 1.
Do you think that would have to be like a ratings thing? Like they can't show a violent video game? Well, I guess it's Mortal Kombat.
Mortal
That's like the
Kombat
worst
is
of
like
yeah,
the most
it's the
violent
worst.
series
You're
of all
right.
time. Yeah,
But there's just no
I have
gunshots.
a larger question about the violence in this.
Yeah.
Because this is a kids movie. This is
Right.
rated PG. It's not for us. This is for children.
mm-hmm.
Yes.
But like what I know that it is common to have like this amount of like violence in kids movies, but I do think it's becoming again like less common. So to watch this now like is feels so The amount of like anger and violence in this is really strange.
It's high, and you know what else we noticed is like, so you're saying this, yes, and we noticed that there's like a lot of like fist fights where they're not using like weapons, right? But then there's also a ton of guns for no reason. Like guns seem to be like totally fine. There was something like they're like fighting and they're like not using like they're using what should be a sword, but it's not a sword. Oh, they have like sticks. Remember like when the guys break in the house? That's what I'm talking about.
It's also the 2000s, and like there was just like weird action vibes in general, and like weird violence, and like things just sort of feel out of whack about most things from this era in general.
For
Like
sure, yeah.
like
Yeah.
the Brad Garrett hyper masculine energy.
So
I'm like,
what the
weird.
Fuck is
That was
wrong
the
with
creepiest
everybody loves
part.
Raymond's brother, dude? He's so aggressively bullying a student.
Like I think if you follow along with High School Slumber Party, the podcast where Brian Rodriguez and some of his teenage friends, no, not teenage friends, I always say that like accidentally, but also I think it's funny. Like where you watch movies today, and like the bullying thing is like has so strongly pivoted. Like unless the movie is about that, like kids are more accepting of each other because like kids in real life now are more accepting of each other,
Yeah.
generally speaking.
Generally,
But
yeah.
to see this here, like it's like 6 football players picking on Max Terrio, like the older brother, and like the vice principal, Brad Garrett is just like okay with it, and
No,
then he's like,
encouraging it almost.
and then he wants to fight Vin Diesel. I'm like, why? What is this?
And then he's also like super bullying him when he wants to be in the play
Oh
and
yeah.
not a wrestler. Like he's such a dick about it.
It was a wild scene to me. This was the most dating part of the movie, and if we're talking High School Slumber Party, I would give this the award of thing I want less of in the
Yeah.
movie.
Hmm.
It would just be like delete. Everybody loves Raymond's brother. Just get
Well,
rid
and
of
then
him.
at the end they use dressing him up as a nun as like a funny joke, which like it's not. It's a very gendered, like unnecessary joke that's not funny.
Yes,
The
yeah.
one thing I'm glad that the movie did not go into was that like, although they might have and I might have missed it, but like I think there was a real opportunity for like early mid 2000s like theater is gay, and I don't think they did that.
They kind of did. I think they
They
tiptoed
kind of, I
like
think they
on.
did too.
Okay, then maybe it wasn't as bad as it could have
It's like the
been, but it
polarity
was
of like he's either a cool wrestler or like a lame
right.
theater kid,
Yeah,
right?
because
And
he was like, are the girls gonna think I'm weird? And Vin Diesel was like, I think they already do. But and then he was like, but don't worry, like one day you're gonna kill it. But like, no, that vibe was there.
Because like there's also the weird like pivot that this movie fakes out for like 40 seconds until it's like, nope, just kidding. Is that like, oh wait, is he a neo-Nazi?
he might be a Nazi. That one
Oh,
got
there
Rachel
was
really
like
good.
I
Like,
was thinking like
it was such a weird choice. Very, very weird.
would
But
would they dress kids up as Nazis even to show the Sound of Music play today without mentioning that that's their, you know what I mean? Like just
yeah.
casually. I don't think you can do that anymore because I found it really off-putting just kids walking around with swastikas on.
Yes, I did. I found it very jarring. I was like, I don't think this could happen. Yes.
Because like the first sign of trouble was that he dyed his hair blonde, and I'm just like, okay, but like Eminem is like the biggest artist in the world right now, and like he has this
I
exact
thought
hair, and it's like,
Yeah, I
this
thought that was
seems
maybe just
normal.
rebellion, right? Like it's
Yeah.
just like, okay, there's a new guy in my house, my mom's not around, blah blah blah. I dyed my hair blonde. Fine. I didn't know that he was going Hitler Youth.
Okay, and then they're like, and then we found this, and they pull out a literal Nazi armband, and I'm just like, hold on, what? What movie? What are we doing here?
Yeah, Rachel's like, is he a Nazi? I was like, there's no. This has to be a setup for something else. Like, it's too grandiose for me to believe that they're gonna actually let this kid be a Nazi. And thank God I was right. But it would have been a much different film if he would have just been a Nazi.
Because literally the next scene is him doing a song from Sound of Music.
Yes.
Oh my god,
And
no,
it's
that
like,
was the other thing that made me laugh. Sorry.
go
Do you
for
want
it.
to do you want to finish your
No,
sentence?
well, I mean, no, I'm just like, it's just like, the movie's like, okay, we can't really commit to this Nazi thing, so like, let's just show him the musical, like, immediately.
So I thought like the way that he would fall when he was dancing was hilarious because like it was so over the top. Like I don't know if I just see it that way because I do move and dance, but like there was like one time that he like did a turnaround and like very obviously like landed it fine and then just like fell down on the I thought it was so funny. And there was like a part where he's like singing with a lady.
Wait, by the way, where is this play? Like, because
as their
he is like
school?
no, because like the lady's like 40.
It's true, she was like 40.
I'm sorry to derail it, but
no, it's a good question. No, it's
that's like a
at the
company local
school.
theater. No, it's like it has to be like the local theater.
No, because at the end they perform the play
Yeah.
and the principal tells him that he should come on as like the theater director.
And then he's like, I think that role's already been filled, and that's when Brad Garrett is in the nun costume. So like that is definitely like a school production.
So they let a teacher be the like
Don't
female
explain it.
lead.
I have heard stories. I have heard
Like,
stories from
what?
friends and on podcasts and stuff that like there's weirdness out there with like high school productions of stuff. Like it gets weird.
course.
So
But like, yeah, that just feels very.
I don't know, man.
Can you imagine? And she's not like the theater like. She's not like the theater teacher. Like that guy like leaves, right? Like that's why we get Vin Diesel there.
Yeah.
So like I could see if it was like, oh, like we're an old boys school and I'm the female theater director and like there's nobody to do this thing and like it's kind of self-serving and lame, but like I'll be the lead, like the female lead, so we can like still have the show.
Can you imagine being like a student who wants that role and the teacher gets it instead? Can you
That's what I
imagine?
mean. Yes, that's what I'm saying. And then there's like
I don't
like
know.
the whole like the romance between them and it's like this just feels weird, man. Like
The other part that made me laugh a lot was like there was another dance part where like she's like standing up on a thing and she hops down and he's supposed to catch her and the first time he just straight up doesn't.
yes.
He goes like full jelly arms and she falls down anyway. I like that.
well, no, I think it's good. Like I think so. These are not. Are these Vin Diesel things? Or these are Max Terrio things?
These are Max Terrio
Max,
things.
yeah, they're
It's-
okay.
I
Right.
was just giving like credit to the movie for like
Gotcha,
doing
okay.
something that was
I just want to make sure.
funny.
Yeah, I wanted to see if Vin was actually making you laugh with just like things around Vin. Got it. Okay.
I don't. Yeah,
Did you like? Speaking of dances, did you like the Peter Panda dance that Vin does?
that was. I mean, I thought that was sweet. Like that was a good, like that was
Kids movie
good. It was
piece.
cute writing to have like that be the thing at the end because like it was established at the beginning that this man who Vin Diesel let get murdered and then
Mhm.
he's the person who goes to take care of his family and they're not mad at him at all. Which I think is interesting.
No, but that dude loves his family. He loves his kids.
That's the thing is like I think that was the one thing that they really established is that like that the dad who's dead like really loved his family. So like I don't know, that was sweet. But then also like okay, when that little boy calls Vin Diesel daddy, I'm like
Mhm.
that's the saddest thing
Yeah.
I've ever heard. Like this man has been in your house for a week. Your dad is dead. You're like 3 years old and you're calling him daddy. Like it was just
Wait,
such
when
a
you
bummer.
say that kid, I just want to make sure you're talking about the baby who walks, right?
The baby who walks.
The walking baby. The
Yeah,
walking,
the walking
baby.
baby. When the walking baby calls him dad. Okay, just want to make sure that we're on the same page there.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was heart ripping for us too, and we're like, and we actually had like a side conversation that we were like, how do you react to that? Like you told the story about the oh you're cute situation, like that's fine, but like how would you react if like some random child was like, thanks, Dad?
Well, it's not some random child. Like this
That's
is a
they're
kid. He's
3 days.
No. I mean, they've developed a bond. This is at least the second time that he's done that dance for him. You know what I mean? Like this is not a random. Like this is a father figure to this kid. Like
It's been like a week.
That's what I'm
Not
saying. There's
even.
no way, Joey. I'm on the complete other side. Like,
I'm not saying
They're like
it's
strangers.
normal. I'm saying he's not a random kid. It's not like
A kid
you
at the
give
park.
A kid, yeah, it's not like you give a kid a ball back. He's like, "Hey, thanks, Dad." It's just like that's a random kid. Like this
I would
is-
be less freaked out by that. It'd be like,
No,
oh,
no,
he
no,
must have
no,
just
no,
like
no.
you know, like I look like his dad with a hat on, or like he didn't mean to say he meant to say Mister and said Dad instead. It's just like a little kid, but like that. This is like just enough that they're like okay, they're friendly, but not enough for that to be like not the weirdest fucking experience ever.
again, it's the kind of thing that a movie like this does to prove that he's making inroads with the family. I don't think it's weird. I think it would be much weirder if just some random kid was just like, "Hey, Dad, thanks, Dad. I love you, Dad." Um, I think this is more normal. It's maybe not normal, and that kid needs help. They all need to process the death of
Wait,
their father.
I'm sorry, I was just thinking about it, and I feel like this is another instance of like, where really this movie is looking at this dead man through the wrong lens, maybe a little bit. Like, he was this amazing, like, family man who loved his family so much. But, like, I don't know, when Vin gets to the house and he's like, "You must be upset," she's like, he was never home anyway. And, like,
Yeah.
this. This little boy doesn't even know who his father is. Like, if like he's old
So
enough
you're
to
thinking this guy's a shitbag? He was just like a
who
giant
was who was
absentee
who,
shitbag?
yeah, kind of.
Well, because the mom, Faith Ford, from the critically acclaimed TV show Hope and Faith, where Hope was played by Kelly Ripa, a show I've never seen a single second of, but I just know that it exists. She says, yeah, he was gone for 5, 6, 7 months at a time. I'm like, what kind of job is that?
He was a
Like,
spy. He's a
He
SEAL.
basically just like came home, got her pregnant once every 2 years, and then left again. Like, that's what it seems like.
Yeah.
It seems crazy. That seems crazier to me than the
Well,
kid
she was
calling
living
Vin
in this
Diesel
huge
dad.
ass house, dude. I don't think she was living a pretty cush life. She got a nanny. She got a big ass house. I think that maybe there's some compromise there, and probably she was like, if this dickhead doesn't want to be here, I don't want him to be here either. At least I'm living here.
I have a very important question for the two of you that I thought of, and I
Yes.
don't know the answer.
Okay.
So, Vin Diesel, the man, Mark Sinclair, is a father.
Yes.
Dom Toretto, also a father,
Yes.
came to it a little bit later in life, not knowing that, like, not there at the birth, because he didn't know Elena was pregnant.
Yes.
Do you think the character, not the actor, but the character of Dominic Toretto has ever changed a diaper?
No, definitely not.
No, right? Like, that's the answer.
Yeah, he like pawns it off on Mia. I'm sure that like Brian's even changed his.
So
I'm
so
sure
he and
Brian's changed a
Letty,
diaper.
do you
No,
think
but
Letty
Brian's
has
changed
changed a diaper?
his child. I think Brian's changed his child's diaper, is what I'm saying.
Okay, so Dom and Letty are raising baby Brian,
Yes.
right?
I think Letty's
Little
done
B.
it.
So Letty changes 100% of the diapers of a baby that's not hers.
Yes.
That's the love child of her husband and his now dead ex-girlfriend.
Yes.
Poor Letty, man.
I know. No, I don't think it's 100% because I think that like that you got enough of the fucking crew around that like I said, I think Mia has, Brian has, I think Letty has, probably like Han. I could even see I could even see Tej doing a diaper or two. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like I got you. Like not Roman, but
But
like I think
Dom never once.
no.
It's wild. I think I agree, but it's insane to think
Right?
about.
It is. It absolutely is. Yes. I think so too.
The other question I had while watching this movie, and I knew that it was coming, and it's also like, it's basically the poster, but there's the shot where he's like getting ready to bring them all to school, right? And like it's the gearing up montage where he's doing like diaper bags and bottles and everything like
Yes.
that. Do you think that was like the visual that they had for this movie? And they're like, how do we build a movie around it? Because it feels like that like idea, like that scene is just like, what if it was like a military guy, but all of his stuff is just baby stuff? They're like, oh, let's write a movie about that. Like that feels like that's almost enough to do an entire movie about just like that one idea.
I think that some old white guy looked at his watch and goes, "It's been a long time since we did Kindergarten Cop, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, what about like not like actually a teacher, but like kind of hangs out at the school and is like a military guy, not a cop?" And everybody's like, "Yeah, that works. We could do that one."
I think say they looked at their watch and like, we haven't sold a movie for $1 million in like 6 weeks. Like, let's just let's do that again. Let's just bang out some other garbage.
that too, but I think it was more like if we like left Kindergarten Cop rest long enough because we can like make something pretty similar to that, like essentially like a sequel without the same characters because like Arnold's probably like the governor at this point or something. Like yeah, so like okay, who can we find? Like Statham, The Rock, Vin Diesel, like okay, Wahlberg, like all those guys.
Let's ask all of them,
Jackie
and one of
Chan.
them's bound to say yes.
Yeah, one of them's gonna do this Disney movie for us, right? Like it'll sell. Yeah, it did.
I want to see a movie with all of them in it, and for some reason they have to hang out with like 50 kids of all different ages and like deal with
Okay.
that. I want to see
It's
just
a
like the
daddy
very
daycare.
escalated version of this.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
I would like the dynamic of The Rock, Statham, and Vin Diesel all trying to run like a 50-child daycare. That sounds amazing to
Yeah,
me.
right. Yes.
It's perfect. Yeah, I really like that. I really liked Vin's tagline in this is "My way, no highway"
Mm,
because it felt very Fast and the Furious to me.
sure. He also kind of Tokyo drifts into a parking space.
He does the van drifting was very reminiscent of Brian Tokyo Drift and just generally Fast and the Furious.
Although I do think that like Brian could maybe learn a thing or two about driving a minivan from Vin in this movie. I feel like Vin really pushes the limits of this minivan in a way that Brian never does in Seven.
Yeah, I think that yeah, because but Brian's a buster, right? He's always like the more safe.
He's also just driving kids to school. Like he's not actually trying to like race people, right? So
Yes.
there is a scene where Vin literally goes diving into shit to recover a tracking bracelet. So I was like, okay, that's certainly a movie.
That was a fucking choice. And by the way, the mom from Gilmore Girls being in this,
Lauren Graham as the principal of the school.
that was an interesting thing because Rachel loves Gilmore Girls, so like I've seen it on the background in my house quite a few times. And I don't know if you know this joke. Have you ever watched Gilmore Girls or know anything about it?
I've walked through the room when I was living with my sister and she was doing one of her many Gilmore Girls rewatches. So I've seen it on as I
Okay.
passed through the room.
Same. So okay. But did you ever notice that they talk like so fast in
Yeah,
Gilmore
that's
Girls?
that's the thing that
like the
everybody talks
thing.
about. Yes,
Okay.
that's the thing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, her talking at normal speed felt like I was listening to her at half speed. Like when I saw her doing this, I
You
was like,
only
"Is
know
she
fast
okay?"
talking Lauren Graham.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
By the end of this movie, she's dating Vin Diesel. So I mean, I think that's a win for both of them. Maybe more for him than her, but I think it's a nice matchup, nice pairing.
Yeah, and she was also like, also a Navy lady, so it made
Which
sense.
which was I guess nice, not necessarily necessary characterization, but it was nice
Yes,
that
it
she had
was because
a
she
thing.
saved the day at the end.
I think Vin, yeah. I mean, I was trying to give the movie like a compliment, but I guess I don't know. It feels like she would just like in another movie like this, she's just like the principal, like she's the pretty lady that he's around, but she's actually given a little bit more to do here in a way that I thought was kind of surprising.
She
I
joined in
didn't.
on the violence. She was like, "Oh, I
Yes.
can also do violence."
Yes, that was funny, but I didn't like how immediately submissive she was to just whatever Vin told her. Like she's the principal of the school, and Vin's like, "We need to do this." She's like, "Yes, sir."
I think she was deferring to him at like knowing,
She's
like
the principal
being a
and also
but, like,
Navy woman.
I know, but like being like she knows the kids are in danger is I think why she was
Okay.
doing that. And he's like, a big important
Guardian.
like military
Okay.
dude, and like I think to her she's just like that supersedes everything because the kids are in danger.
I
That's
think
a
it's also
fair
like she's
perception.
probably a little bit bored by her new life, and like to have a little bit of excitement around is probably exciting to her, right? Like she's like, oh, because I was also thinking like, in what world would a school like let a grown man who's not a family member just like hang out at the
Yes!
school and like watch kids all
Well,
day
and
and like
also,
interact with
like,
kids?
It would be one thing if like the kids and everyone, if it was like public knowledge maybe that these kids were in danger, but like the whole thing was that the mom was like, I don't want the kids to know. So like what did they think he was doing there? Like
Don't know.
watching them.
Creepy babysitter just hangs out at my school. Yeah, I don't know.
But it's also like crazy that, so he's at school with the baby and the walking baby, and he sees like the bullies pick on Max Terrio, and he handles that or whatever, and then he's like, red alert, I gotta go. And he just like leaves the baby and the
All of
walking
them.
baby with Lauren Graham.
Yep.
And then I guess because she's the best person on the planet, like she just like brings them all home
just
and
goes-
stays there until he gets back,
Covered
coated
in shit.
with the tracking.
Yes.
But it's just
But
like,
then when he gets back, she leaves so quickly.
well, because
She's
she
covered in
smelled like
shit.
Yeah. Mhm.
But this was what I was saying too. So like she stayed there and like watched the kids the whole time. He clearly needs a shower. He goes and showers and like just lets them free in the house
Yeah.
again, and like they're all trying to constantly escape, and like they're in danger. And he's like, you know what? Like I get it, but like I need to loofah my face for 16 hours. That's like the first thing I said to Rachel. Like when he comes out of the thing, I was like, I would need a 45-hour shower like immediately.
I mean, I think she does this because I think it's clear in the scene she's already kind of in love with him. She's like, call me, like if you need anything, like after you shower or before. Like she's like, I want to see you again.
Yes.
Let's make this happen. But still, it's like you went so far, but like she's also running this school, and she's like, no, I'll just take these kids home. It's fine.
I was thinking that too. Like when she has like a lot of fucking free time to just be like going out and checking on Vin Diesel sitting outside if she's like the principal of the school. I was like, I feel like that will be like a really actually busy job. Like not much
Yeah.
downtime. Like
No.
between like administrative stuff and like kids dicking around, I'm like, you probably have something on your plate at every second of the day until like dismissal, right?
Especially when your vice principal is as big of a fuck up as Brad Garrett is, right?
Yes!
Yeah,
you
because
you
he's
can't
clearly
trust
not
him.
doing anything.
No. Ay, 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 ay.
Yeah, there's some logistical difficulties happening in this movie for sure.
This is
How-
what I meant when I just when I was like, this cannot be the way the movie was originally written, with like this many plot holes.
It's also like, okay, so his whole job, right, is to protect these kids. Like, stay at home, make sure that nobody kidnaps these kids because, like, they're wanted, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And then he's like, all right, I'm going to spend the next 45 minutes in, like, real time, like 5 minutes of movie time, watching one of them at play rehearsal. It's like, well, what
Yes,
about the other
this
four? Like,
too.
you don't bring the kids with you. Like, it's just you. And he's like, you know what? I might direct this play. It's like, hold on. With what time? Like, where are you getting all of this time?
I don't know, man. I thought this too. I definitely thought that. I was like, what are the babies doing? Like, what is the walking baby doing right now? While he's just like has hours to come in and begin directing Sound of Music. I don't know, man.
It's also funny to me that the whole premise of like why he's there is because the mom and the military guy, who is very obviously the bad guy too.
Yes, obviously from the rip. I said this.
Wait, you
yeah,
guys knew
yeah.
he was the bad guy the whole time? I've seen this
Yeah.
movie
Yes!
before, and I didn't even remember that. All right.
No, it's just like the
My bad.
setup, like the Disney. Like set the kids movie Disney movie.
The guy who knows Vin brings him in, the one that has the mom trusts, blah, 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 all this different
Yes.
stuff.
I
That
actually
has
thought the
to be
mom
him.
was in on it too, by the way. I thought that they were going to be in cahoots. Like they were like a secret relationship.
Ooh, I would
that,
have
like-
believed that. Yeah.
This movie wants us to believe that they spend 2 weeks at a bank just guessing
Guessing
passwords.
password.
And then when they finally get it, the bank just goes, "Okay."
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could have just sat there with a dictionary and been like, Apple. You know what I mean? Just like go down the list.
And like, I don't remember the password, but it was like basically like a nickname, like an
Angel.
in-joke, like, yeah, Angel, right? Like it's what he called her or whatever. Just like, you didn't try that in the first 2 weeks? Like,
Honey,
all the kids' names, all
sweetie.
my nicknames, our
Yes.
birthdays, our
Dogs,
anniversary, all,
pets,
like, all
the duck. We just sit there and guess passwords. I do like that. I really enjoy that there seemed to be no upper limit on how many password guesses you could have. It's not like you got like it's harder to log into like my fucking FanDuel account than it was to get whatever was hidden in this secret Swiss bank account.
Yeah, I also think it's funny that like so the secret project that they're trying to protect or people trying to get is called Ghost, and Vin's like snooping around the house and he finds a disc that says Ghost. He's like, I got it, and then it's just the movie Ghost.
Yes, I did like that.
Like, and they just watch Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Whoopi Goldberg. It's just like, okay, like, yeah, sure.
Well, that comes on the top of something else, Joey. He finds it because he's making them clean up after he comes home to a very large party that they're throwing at the house because, you know, he's not there.
Oh, right, yes. Mm-hmm.
How hilarious is it that Vin walks into another party happening in his house and it being very, very similar to the one in the first Fast and the Furious?
I did not think about that, but very much so.
He like comes in, he's like, "Hey, everybody get the fuck out," essentially, right? Like yells, and then like everybody cleans up and leaves.
Yeah, he comes in as like a buzzkill.
Yes, exactly.
I will say that at the like toward the end of the movie when Zoe's having her very emotional moment and like he goes out on the ledge with her and like it's a very I remember everything about my father kind of moment where it's
Yeah.
just like him and Brian, but here him and Zoe. And like Jordan, if you remember in Fast 5, there's a moment where like Brian's like, "Man, I'm scared to be a dad." And he's just like, "I remember, like, because I don't remember my dad." And Vin goes, "I remember everything about my father," and like talks about like
Fada.
how
You
he
said it wrong.
raised Dom. I know, I don't like to make fun of him for that. Where he like raised Dom and Mia, and like, you know, Brian's gonna be a good father because he's gonna kick his ass if he ain't, whatever, blah blah blah. But it's a very kind of tender moment. And here it's kind of the same exact thing, you know, 6 years earlier. So I guess we can say the Pacifier did it first.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I think we've kind of seen that Vin does cherry pick the things he liked from Triple X and things like
Sure.
that. There's no reason that he couldn't have been like, I like that balcony scene in the pacifier, like even unintentionally, and be
Hmm.
like, okay, like yeah, I'm gonna put that in this movie.
Jordan, you have other thoughts, other notes, other things that you liked or hated or want to talk about before we play a couple games?
No, you guys even named parts of the movie that I forgot happened.
Joe, other thoughts and other notes?
I have just a couple more quick things. One,
Mm-hmm.
he says at one point near the end of the movie, Rodriguez wasn't left behind. And I was like, Michelle Rodriguez wasn't left behind? So I
Ooh,
was like, oh, that's interesting. And then, two, we really greatly, strongly enjoyed when he wrestles Everybody Loves Raymond's brother, that somebody had a John 3:16 sign in the background, like Austin 3:16. That made
it's
me
pretty
really
fun.
happy. Yeah, it was like just a cute nod.
Also, that scene, almost against all odds, like the titular pacifier in this movie is him putting Brad Garrett's fingers in his mouth and like making him suck his own fingers. Like he's like, oh, they call it the pacifier. Just like, that's the pacifier?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what? I mean, that didn't. It's just like you wrote that line and you did that and you think that it lined up somehow that it really didn't.
It shows you the flip that you thought that it was about being a pacifier, but in reality, it was a move. It was Vin Diesel squelching all the terrorists that live in this town trying to kill these children. He is the pacifier, not the pacifier.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
It's deep.
Whoa.
I know.
The only other thing is I thought the Fireflies cookie defense, like he teaches this group of Girl Scouts how to defend themselves against the Boy
Oh,
Scouts,
yeah, this is
was very
awesome.
much like the soccer aggression in Fate of the
Yep,
Furious, where it's just
yep.
like a muscly man teaching young girls how to be warriors, basically.
Also, as soon as he started the training montage, the first things we looked at each other and said like, "I can't wait till they beat the shit out of those Boy Scouts,"
Mm-hmm.
because like that was
Mm-hmm.
like the you know exactly where it's going, and I'm like, oh, I'm just counting down the minutes now till they just like rip these Boy Scouts to shreds, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what they did. It was awesome.
My only other note is that famously Chinese last name Chun apparently is the North Korean family. Like at the end when they're talking about how like the military guy was corrupt, but it's also the North Koreans, but their last name is Chun. It's like it's not even close. Like that's not even like there's so many like easy like common Korean names you could do, but like why what? Just like a weird kind of like was that like a leftover from a previous like
Cut, yeah,
version?
yeah, version Twinkie
I
situation
don't know, man.
happening. I don't know.
Okay, okay. Let's watch the trailer. It's on YouTube, the Pacifier 2005 official trailer, posted by Movie
Oh,
Review EK.
somebody new on the scene 10 years
I don't know. They
ago.
only have 200 subscribers, so I don't know how this has 100,000 views, but you know,
I'm ready whenever you
whatever.
guys are.
Three, two, one, play.
Navy SEAL Shane Wolf has seen
This is
action
very loud.
in every corner of the globe.
Okay, they're selling it like Fast and the Furious a little bit at the beginning.
I mean, the trailers are the same way the movie does. Can you believe this war hero
But for his next assignment,
is going to have to be a dad?
place, his skills mean nothing.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Oh, Vin on the girl's bike in that one scene was really awesome.
Pretty good.
He actually looked like like I thought that he would look really awkward on a bicycle too, and he
No.
kind of like sent
Yeah.
it. Probably a stunt double, but still.
They also talk about how, like, you know, the Girl Scout one, Lulu, is talking about how how he has boobs, and like this
Yeah.
is like the most fit I think Vin has ever been. Like this, like he looks great in this movie. I think.
Svelte, like not like huge, but like very like just fit and yeah.
There's Red Baby.
The trailer, this is so much better than the movie.
He's in for some big changes.
Uh oh.
From the director
Red
of Bringing
Baby.
Down the House,
Yeah, I think Jordan because it's cutting out all the stuff that like isn't good, right? Like it's doing
Yeah,
what a
like it's
trailer
all the
should
good
do.
parts.
they may not understand his methods.
Oh, that was funny on the seesaw. That was cute.
Yeah.
I thought
Him
this
against
was
five
funny when he
kids.
tells war stories to her, but just like renames
And laid down a heavy suppressive fire on
like this. I really like that. I giggled at this
Last
one.
guy they ever expected.
Here's the gearing up that I was talking about before. I
Yep.
do think,
What they need.
like we said, I think we all agree that like this movie is exactly what you think it's going to be. You don't have to watch the movie, but like watch the trailer. The trailer is like Jordan's saying, just it's all the good stuff, right? Like it's just
It is, yeah.
Vin Diesel.
save yourself, 9 or 87 minutes.
Pick on someone your own size.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that is so gross.
I'll be your daddy. The chicken wings.
Oh, they're gonna end with the pacifier. Okay.
The pacifier.
Oh, they even give it to you in the trailer. Okay.
Not on my watch.
She's the best actress in this movie.
Yes.
The middle kid.
Agreed.
The Girl Scout, right?
Yep, I'm
Yeah,
with you.
she's so good. She doesn't act
She's
anymore.
she's doing heavy lifting in this film, honestly.
Yeah.
One more game to play, the Letterboxed game. So for reference sake, Mad Max Fury Road has been logged more than 1.3 million times on Letterboxd. Jordan, if you don't remember how to play this game, if you've never played this game before, it's very, very difficult. Joe can take the lead. Just guess numbers for this first part, and we're going to go from there. So The Pacifier, 2005, directed by Adam Shankman, starring Vin Diesel, Lauren Graham, and Faith Ford, has been seen by how many people on Letterboxd? Joe, where do you want to go?
You said 200 million made. It has Vin Diesel in it. A lot of people log movies they watch with their kids, but I still.
If you get this right again, I'm going to flip out.
I'm gonna go low, but I because I don't think it's a ton. Oh, it's on Disney Plus too. Okay, I'm still okay. I'm gonna go with my original guess of 85,000.
Okay. Jordan, how many people do you think have logged this on Letterboxd? Joe says 85,000.
And okay, I don't know. Let's see. Should I go higher or lower? What do I do?
I would go higher. I think my next guess is
okay.
higher, but that's
Okay.
just help, like just a gentle help. It's probably wrong. Go ahead.
Okay, let's go. No, wait. Okay. Let's go. Would you say 85,000?
Yes.
I'm gonna say like 102,000.
All right. You are both too low. Got to go higher.
Okay.
Joe, what was your real first guess?
My real first guess is gonna be. Oh, I don't think it's much more than 102. Give me 115.
Okay. Jordan?
I must say 180,000.
Jordan is very close, but
Wow.
somewhere in the middle. One more guess between 115 and 180. One more guess, much closer to
167.
Jordan.
167.
Okay. Jordan?
I'll go 175.
173,000 people have
Okay.
seen Vin Diesel in The Pacifier. Average rating of 2.5, most common a 3, then a 2, then a 2.5. How many out of those 173,000 have this listed as one of their 4 favorite movies of all time on Letterboxd?
4.
Okay.
500.
Between those two numbers.
No. 9.
190.
Still between those two numbers.
12. Final
Okay.
guess.
87.
Jordan has been sort of closer the entire time. It's 48. 48 people have this in their top 4
Damn.
favorite films of all time. We're going to go to STHEF at Ms. Fernandez on Letterboxd, who watched this movie 4 years ago, did not give it a score, but just said in all capital letters, the best film ever.
But just no
Ever.
rating.
Wow.
Okay.
Their Twitter is Hot Axel, so maybe they are a Guns N' Roses fan. I don't know.
Maybe.
But STHEF, their number 4 movie of all time is Vin Diesel in The Pacifier. Now, I have connections to both of you for number 1. Joe, it's something very recently that we talked about. But Jordan, I'm going to give Jordan a little nod because I think, Joe, you're going to get number 3 much easier.
Okay.
Jordan, what is your favorite GIF of all time from a movie?
It's Leonardo DiCaprio with the cigarette from Titanic.
Titanic number 1.
Okay. Okay. Nice.
There was an episode. Was it the Titanic episode, or did we watch Titanic for wistful thinking because of that GIF? Like, what was the chicken or the egg there?
No, I think we watched Titanic for wistful thinking, and then during the recording of the episode, I watched the GIF repeatedly.
There's a gif of him just sort of like mulling the cigarette around in between his lips and his tongue, and like it like perfectly loops.
I've seen it before. Yeah.
And I was recording an episode with Jordan and Kara, and like all of a sudden I realized that neither of them were talking because they were both, Jordan especially, was just like watching the GIF. It's just like, guys, we're recording an episode here. Like we got to talk about something. They're like, I'm mesmerized by this GIF.
Interesting. I
It's
like that you
perfect.
keep using that word over and over again. So thank you, because I was ignoring it. But sure.
Number 3, Joe, is a
Yes.
movie we have covered for a different podcast,
Okay.
starring an actor whose name has been brought up multiple times in this episode.
Zac Efron.
Yep, in
Zephantine again.
Zephantine again.
Wow.
Well, I think
Minimal
if someone,
help, but I mean,
if,
you know,
if
it
someone who
logicked
loves
itself out, right?
It's either this or High School Musical, right? Like it's like if you like a Vin Diesel Disney movie, it's like,
Yeah, I agree.
all right. Now, number 2 is one of the most popular and most beloved films of the 1980s. I would say also right in line with these other movies, but maybe a little bit more adult, but not really. Like Pacifier, definitely not adult. Zephantine
Yes.
again, sort of aging up a little bit. Titanic, aging up slightly. This is maybe in line with Titanic, but beloved cult classic, but also just like genuine, like all classic, not cult classic, just like a beloved film from the 1980s.
Breakfast Club.
No, but in that oeuvre, but not a John Hughes movie. No, it is. Sorry, it is a John Hughes movie.
16 Candles.
No, it's not. I would say that the oeuvre is not the Brat Pack, but another John Hughes movie that people love from the 1980s.
I can't tell you any
I
more
don't
John
think.
Hughes movies.
Yeah,
That movies.
same. I'm gonna know it when you say it, but
The
Give me a different
tagline:
clue. Okay, yes, please.
"One man struggle to take it easy."
Oh, Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Yeah,
Perfect.
oh,
John Hughes, not Brat Pack though. So Titanic, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Zephantine again, and The Pacifier. What
That's a
top
good
4.
lineup. I think that's pretty fun. This seems like a fun movie watcher.
Yeah.
Somebody that I could be like, hey, like
All 4 of those movies have been covered by this network: Wistful Thinking, High School Slumber Party,
right.
Zack Attack, and Too Fast.
yeah, you're right. That's a good point. I love Ferris Bueller's Day Off too. That's like one of my favorite movies.
At the end of every single episode of High School Slumber Party, the tag, it's over. Go
yeah,
home.
Yeah, exactly.
And Jordan, this is over. You go home, but thank you for being here.
guess what I'm doing?
What?
Watching the GIF of Leonardo DiCaprio with the cigarette.
You bet.
Yes, I knew.
Jordan, did you speak of things you watched? Do you have thoughts? If the answer is no, that's fine. Do you have any thoughts on Fast X?
Yeah, okay. I watched the trailer again before this in case you asked.
Okay.
Okay.
And my problem is a Vin Diesel problem because I told Joey, he's like, did you watch the trailer? Maybe we'll talk about it, maybe we won't. And I was like, when I watched it and I immediately forgot about it. And then I watched it again. And the reason I immediately forgot about it is because it's so Dom heavy and I don't care. But every time they show stuff with other people, I'm like, yeah, I want to watch Charlize and Michelle Rodriguez fight. Like, yeah, I want to watch that. Like, yeah, I want to watch, who is Han with? And he's with Jason Statham in the trailer, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Like, yeah, I want to
Yes.
watch that. But it's like, I don't care at all about Dom. And so like between that and like the amount of what looks like CGI to me, I'm just like, my brain.
So Kara messaged us and she said, because we did like an hour-long episode the day the trailer dropped, and her thing is she's like, did you guys notice how CGI'd Vin's skin is?
Yes.
So Kara was right on the same wavelength as you.
I didn't until she nailed
Like,
it. Like
he
she
doesn't
put
even
finger
look like
on
a
it.
person anymore.
It's very smooth. It's very, very smooth for some reason.
And the whole thing just has this like look now that like legit like my brain can't deal with. Like I can't process it.
Is it a movie that you will see in theaters, or are you going to just like, are you not really in a rush to see it?
I don't. If like, if I read a really good review, if I read a review that says it's like really fun, I'll probably see it. But otherwise, like, I don't think I care because I didn't have a fun time at the last one. Like, I'm glad Han came back, but like, I couldn't tell you anything else that happened in that.
You got to drive down and see it with us.
You can. You're
I
welcome
know.
to.
I thought about it.
We still have 2 tickets that have not been claimed yet. Just think about it. Don't
I
have to answer
will.
now. Just think about it. Just think about it. All right, our next episode, Joe, next week is Life in the Fast Lane, number 8, Too Fast, Too Furious, minute 83. Once again, still driving, but we're going to get to the scramble sooner or later, right? Like, there's going to be distractions coming soon.
We have to.
But that's next week. Then we got Hobbs and Shaw the week after with Montez. And then the next pit stop we're doing, the next Vin Diesel movie, one I have not seen. So there's been a couple this lap that I've not seen. The Pacifier, one of them. This next one, also one I've not seen. Jordan or Joe, have either of you seen the film Find Me Guilty from 2006?
Not at all. Haven't even heard of
No.
it. No
Okay.
idea what that is.
I know the genre, which might surprise you. We'll talk about that in 3 weeks. But fan favorite Garrett Smith will be on that episode, so we'll be talking about that in 3 weeks. So stay tuned for that. But between now and then, like we said, Life in the Fast Lane and Hobbs and Shaw. But Jordan, thank you so much once again. Is there anything that you want people to know about you? Anything you want to plug? Anything that you want to be followed? Anything like that on the internet?
Yeah, sure. I'm on Instagram at JordoPC. You can go there to see me doing a bunch of usually crazy tricks, circus tricks. I also now work as a personal trainer virtually, so hit me up if that's a thing you want to do. I'm super fun and
Oh.
awesome.
That is kind
Very,
of cool.
very cool.
Yeah, yeah,
And people can just slide into your DMs.
totally.
Cool. Jordan,
I mean,
PCM.
also, if you want to learn acrobatic stuff virtually, I got you there too. But, less people usually want that part. But if you want to learn a handstand in your living room, I got you.
Cool. Very, very cool. For all things acrobats and handstands in living rooms, you got to oh god, when I don't ramp into the thing in the normal way, I can't figure out. For all things too fast, go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/toofast2forever, or at toofast2forever on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Email us, family at cageclub.me. Check out our Patreon page at toofast2forever.com and our store at toofast2 on TeePublic. We got rid of the domain, you know
Yes. Yeah.
it.
A little
And come back
frazzled at the
next
end here.
week. Well, I was leading into it with kind of the joke, and then I lost my footing, and then I forgot. I went to the rhythm, and the rhythm was outdated, and the rhythm is going to get you. But anyway, come back next week for Life in the Fast Lane. I'm Joey Lewandowski,
I'm Joe too.
and that was Jordan Polan-Clarke, and we'll tell you all about it.
When we see you